Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Sober Scoop. Today's a little bonus episode, a little cheeky Friday episode for you. And why am I releasing this bonus episode, you might ask? Well, today, Friday, June 20th, is my 1-year sober date. I literally can't believe it. Actually, I kind of can believe it. When I got sober, I knew that I was in it for the long haul. I had tried to get sober so many times and thought about it and flirted with sobriety. And when I finally kicked it, I knew that that was going to be, I don't want to say forever, but I intend it to be forever. And I knew that I would make it to this point eventually. But thinking about the year mark early on can be really daunting. And so that's, I guess, what I'm talking about when I say I can't believe that I'm here. Because in sobriety, you kind of think about this 1-year date for the whole time. Obviously, there are so many milestones. I mean, I'll never forget when I made it to double digits. When I got to 10 days, I was so proud of myself. That's the longest I had ever been sober since I started drinking. I was so proud of myself. And then to make it to a month, and then to make it to 2 months, and then 90 days, and 6 months was big. 100 days is big. I guess that's before 6 months, but whatever. There's all these massive milestones, 200 days, 300 days. But it's almost like it's all just leading up to this 1-year mark. I've been thinking about it for so long. It's a really special date for the sober community. And today is mine. I'm so happy and so proud of myself. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. This is just such a massive accomplishment, and just thinking about this last year and everything that has changed and all the different ways that I've changed. I mean, I am a completely different person than I was a year ago, which gets me really excited for the person I am today, but it makes me really sad and embarrassed for all the people who knew me as the prior version of myself, as the girl with a drinking problem. I think about the guys I dated, and they knew me as that. It would be a very different experience to date me now. I just have such a different outlook on life. And it's not all about dating friends or whoever that I'm meeting now. I have such a different outlook on life. I have such a different respect for myself. I have different wishes for my future. I have a different work ethic. I have different values. I mean, everything about me is different. It's crazy. And just where my priorities lie are so different. The last year, to think back on it, is just a crazy, wild roller coaster, not to be cliche. But I think about those early days that were really, really hard. And then how I kind of got the pink cloud. If you haven't listened to the pink cloud episode, definitely go back and check that one out. But then I was on this high. I was so elated and happy. And that was an experience. And then I kind of came down from that. And I remember having to finally face my emotions. And I made a video about just feeling so emotional. And I felt like I was on my period or something. And I asked the community, of course, has anyone else experienced this just overwhelm of emotion? You feel like you're going to cry all the time? 30 days into sobriety, I thought I had already passed the hard part of sobriety. Then that's when I learned that typically days 30 to 90 are actually the hardest in sobriety. So I remember kind of battling through those months. I was still so happy with all my life changes, but those 30 to 90 days were a battle, just an adjustment for sure. I remember all the first times I've had to tell people that I'm sober. The first time I told my boyfriend, my friends, my family. I remember all those first times that I told them. It literally feels like coming out of the closet or something. It's hello, I am now going to be this person who does the exact opposite of what you thought I did this whole time. And yeah, it's just, you basically come out to your friends and family. And I remember each one of those moments. I remember battling with how I was going to tell strangers that I was getting sober. I remember, oh gosh, just so many firsts in sobriety. I remember the first time I went to like a party or an event. I remember that first house party. I've talked about house parties a lot on this podcast because I've learned in sobriety that I just straight up don't enjoy house parties, period. It's like, what's the event? We're just standing around playing Flippy Cup or whatever the frick it's called. I like an event. I like music or an experience of some sort. Entertainment. Anyway, so I remember that first party. I remember the first time, like, doing so many different things. Even, this is so random, but like, for Christmas, I thought it was kind of funny to drink before Christmas Mass when I was a drinker. Thought it was like funny to show up a little bit lit to church. And I remember the first time I went to church sober. I remember just so many firsts in sobriety, big things and small things. I remember the first like disagreement or argument that I got in as a sober person, like the first tough conversation I had to have without alcohol. That was probably one of the strongest cravings I had to drink after making the decision to quit, because I used to always drink to get through hard times. And so when something hard happens, your mind instantly goes to alcohol. And to say like, no, I actually have to sit with this feeling and actually deal with it, that was a new thing to experience on a smaller scale. I remember the first time that I had a charcuterie board without wine. I remember the first movie night sober. I remember the first time going to the mall or going to Korean barbecue or going to a concert, like an event. I have experienced so many firsts in sobriety. And this first year is cool because it's like these things that happen once a year, 4th of July or your annual family vacation or Christmas or your birthday. You get to experience those for the first time, your first year of sobriety. And so each one is really special. It's your first time going through all those things. I also technically just celebrated my first birthday sober. My birthday was on June 10th and my sober day is June 20th. So this was my first sober birthday, which is weird because it's right at the very end of my first year sober. But it was still cool to experience. It's been a while just thinking about this past year and how my outlook on alcohol has changed so much. I have been talking a bit more about non-alcoholic beers and wines and how I kind of relied on those in the beginning because I really needed that to help transition me out of my daily routine with alcohol. I would crave the flavor and crave that carbonation and crave just my evening ritual. And so NA drinks kind of got me through that. And now a year sober, I don't really need those to get me through sobriety. Like, I don't even think about alcohol at all in that way. And it's funny because I've said that I don't think about alcohol at all so many different times throughout my sobriety. I think I probably said it for the first time around month 4. Oh, I don't even think about alcohol anymore. Well, looking back on that time, I still thought about alcohol. It has taken like 10 or 11 months, I would say, is the point where I really stopped thinking about alcohol. Yeah, it's funny because I probably said around month 4, like, oh, I don't think about alcohol anymore. And at the time, that's what I was really feeling, that I didn't think about alcohol. And then now, a year sober, looking back, it's like, yeah, I still had some sort of relationship with alcohol at that point. Like, I was still resisting the urge. I would still have certain cravings. I would be reminded of memories that make me feel like drinking or whatever. Even though I didn't drink, I still had some sort of mental attachment to alcohol in some way. And now I know, as somebody who is a year sober and really doesn't think about alcohol, like, literally outside of making these episodes, I don't think about booze, and I'm not tempted anymore. I can say that, yeah, looking back, I did still think about booze. Maybe 2 years down the road, I'll say that at a year sober, I was still thinking about booze. But right now, it really doesn't feel that way. It feels like I am so far removed from anything to do with alcohol. I actually brought 4 bottles of non-alcoholic wine to my new apartment because I work with the Zero Proof, as you guys may know. You can always use my link to get a discount on their site. But anyways, I was unpacking and I discovered these 4 bottles of non-alcoholic wine that I had brought. And I just had this weird feeling about it where I was like, I just don't need this anymore. Like, first of all, I don't want to display it or like have it in my fridge. Like, alcohol is not something that I'm proud to display. In fact, I'm now proud of my sobriety and I don't even want people to think that I drink. I also don't want to open the fridge and see bottles. I know they're non-alcoholic wines, but I don't want to see that. Like, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel like a good representation of who I am and who I've become. And yeah, I don't need fake beer or fake wine to like get me through sobriety anymore. I have totally learned how to, quote unquote, cope with life in sobriety. Life just feels so normal as a sober person. And alcohol is just so not a part of my life. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like I'm so far removed from anything to do with that. And so I don't even really want the non-alcoholic wines around. Like, it's kind of fun for a random occasion if everyone's cheersing champagne or something to like pour myself a little sparkling rosé or something like that. It is kind of fun. But I don't need to like have it here at my apartment. It feels weird. It's not like I'm tempted to drink the entire thing and like it'll take me back to my drinking days. It's not that mentality as much as it is just I don't glorify alcohol anymore. I don't need it in my life. So there's an interesting revelation. But anyway, I was trying to make this a brief episode. I'm just in awe that I made it a year. I remember in the very beginning, I was like, 6 days sober. And I was on social media commenting on people's videos saying like, I'm 6 days sober. Like, I was so proud of myself for 6 days and for 10 days and for 14 days. And every day was a new celebration. And I would see these other people in the comments like, I'm 45 days sober. And I'm just like, whoa, 45 days. I can't wait till I can say that. It actually never really felt like that day would come. It's like it was so far away, like 45 days. And then, I'd hit that and it'd be like, someone is triple digits, 100 days. That's crazy. And a year, like I thought of people who were sober for a year as like veterans. They are seasoned professionals with sobriety and they've done so much work and they are just another level. And now that's me. What? Like, I just can't believe that I am that person that I was looking up to a year ago. I'll never forget when I saw that girl's video, Haley Bailey, not the really famous one on TikTok, but another girl who's a model, lives in Los Angeles. I think it's Haley Bo Bailey is what she goes by on Instagram. And I saw her post her year sober video. And I rewatched that video probably 35 times before I got sober because I'd never seen another young, pretty gal getting sober. Sorry, not to toot my own horn, but I don't feel like we're the typical sobriety demographic. I made a whole episode about that too and how there is no one demographic for having an alcohol problem. Like anybody can have an alcohol problem. Doesn't matter your age or height or gender or race or anything. But anyway, I connected with this girl because I didn't see a lot of other people speaking on that topic who I saw in myself. And so I watched that girl's video like 35 times, like I said, before I got sober. And I just like wanted to be her. I wanted to get to that place of a year of sobriety. She looked amazing. Her skin was so beautiful. Like she was so fit. She was so happy. You could just see the radiance in her smile and her eyes. And I was like, I want to be that. And she was a model as well, like I was. And she had that kind of round, inflamed face like I had, and then totally slimmed down in sobriety. I was like, I want that. I just loved what she was doing. And I wanted to do it too. But a year sober was a huge feat. And now here I am. I did that thing. 1 year sober, baby. Crazy. So what am I going to do to celebrate my 1 year of sobriety? Well, I'm actually at a friend's wedding this weekend, so I'll be celebrating her. She's my best friend since, oh my God, we were like 11 or 10 years old. So I'm going to be celebrating her this weekend. But yeah, I'm not going to make a big deal of it, obviously, but deep inside somewhere, I'm celebrating myself, and I'm celebrating with you guys through this podcast and on social media. And I'm just feeling really at peace and like just so proud. That's the word I keep using. I'm so proud of myself. It does feel really good to accomplish something in life. And I always talk about how when I tried to moderate my drinking, I failed myself so many times. I disappointed myself over and over again. And when I quit, when I finally decided to get sober, it was like I won. Like I did it. I set my mind to something and I freaking did it. Not everyone was 100% sure that I was going to be able to stay sober. In fact, most people probably assumed that it was just a temporary thing. But I did it. I stuck to my word. And that feels really good. To say that you're going to do something and then actually follow through and do it. So I'm feeling pretty good. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here. The community that we've built together online is so beautiful. The podcast, the Facebook page, the TikTok, like you guys mean the literal world to me. And I hope that you feel like so secure and seen and fulfilled being a part of this community. I'm so grateful to have you here. And you guys are supporting me like as much as I'm supporting you. I'm sure that many of you might consider me a resource, like as you're on your sober journey. Literally all your comments and DMs and listens on this podcast just show me that I'm doing the right thing and like spreading the word, using my platform to help people. And it just reaffirms that I'm doing the right thing, and it like encourages me to stay sober and keep making sobriety content. And I'm so grateful for you, just as you might be grateful for me. So it's a two-way street. Thank you for being here. I literally love every single frickin' one of you. And cheers, whatever you're drinking. I have a diet A&W, 0 sugar root beer. So raise your glass and cheers. I'm celebrating a year sober. I can't believe it. Okay, thank you guys. I'll see you for the next episode. Have a great weekend. Bye.